thing people keep direct messaging me about is how to make their hair grow back. I don't believe that there are magic beans to make your hair grow back. I personally would not ever use like the Rogaine one because I knew that it was Telogen Effluvium, and I feel like it's better to let your hair do what it's gonna do and grow back and keep your scalp nice than to put weird chemicals on it. And also, as I mentioned, I have a very sensitive scalp. I react to fragrance and I got the folliculitis bump. So I would not use anything weird like Rogaine. One lady that I found online got cortisone shots in her head, and she thought that that prevented her hair from falling out. She had had her hair fall out from a giant medical event. She was in a terrible car accident and full body cast. I mean, and on top of that, lost her hair. But I think it's different. The medical trauma, chronic telogen effluvium, the medical trauma telogen effluvium, I think that they don't have to worry as much about it coming on with a traumatic event. So I don't know whether that worked or not for her, but from what I read about the cortisone injections in your head, even if it prevents the hair from falling out immediately, which isn't how TE works anyway, it's not permanent. It's gonna fall out. So I figured the sooner that it falls out after the event, then the quicker that the follicle recovers and it starts growing back. Obviously I've read all of the telogen anagen phases of stuff, and the thing that I read that I have interpreted a certain way, because there's just not a lot of information that is definitive on TE, is the hair cycle of 2 to 7 years. I think everyone's heard about the 7 years. From what I read, it's 2 to 7 years. So the reason I wonder if it took 2 years for my hair to fill in completely is that when it goes into the resting phase prematurely and falls out, I think maybe it completes its minimum of 2 year cycle before it starts growing again. And that's my theory. It's, take it with a grain of salt. I do have an advanced degree, but it's in marriage and family therapy. It's not in anything to do with medicine or hair. So I did an extreme amount of reading and research online and read medical articles and everything, and like I said, none of it was very helpful, and it wasn't really related to the experience that I had. But that is that. So anyway, sorry, the thing that people kept asking me is what I did, and so obviously I'm not sponsored, so anyone would do. Right now I'm using the Physician's Choice. I order it from Target. It's KSM 66 ashwagandha. A lot of the times in all of the stuff that I was reading about TE, what kept coming up is the ashwagandha, that it says here that it's for stress and anxiety. That ashwagandha, it's an Ayurvedic herb, which is Indian herb, and it's considered here in the States, it's herbal supplement, which in the States, basically on everything, it says that anything to do with herbal is hokum. You should consult your doctor, but when I consulted my general doctor, he had never heard of it, and he just said, I'm sure it's fine. He obviously thought it was hokum. I don't know if it does what it said in the articles, but in the articles, it basically said that the ashwagandha, when you have the emotional trauma, the reason that your hair falls out is that we release an extreme amount of cortisol, which indicates to our body that it needs to go in fight or flight, that we are in life or death danger in that moment. And what happens is that it shuts down all the adrenaline and cortisol, shuts down the non-essential systems in your body. So like your heart and your lungs and your brain are essential systems and oxygen, but it doesn't consider like hair to be essential, and that's what sends it into the phase of falling out. So it says that ashwagandha would help you control your body's reaction when you do have an extreme stressful trauma. So I don't know if it's supposed to stop you from releasing the cortisol that shuts it down, or if it just controls your reaction to stress in general. I'm not sure that it has anything to do with my hair growing back. I believe that it does. So I think like it makes me not stressed about my hair, or it made me the whole time not stressed so much about my hair growing back, because I felt like I was tangibly doing something that, should something emotional happen to me that was beyond my control, that I was somehow controlling my body's reaction to it, and that my hair would not fall out and my system would not shut down should something horrible happen. So I don't know, like I said, if it does anything or if it works. I do know that I used to have anxiety attacks, and I started taking it in 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I mean, not even one since. So I do know that. So anyway, that's grain of salt. I'm not telling you to take ashwagandha. I am not sponsored by ashwagandha. It doesn't matter what brand of ashwagandha. The thing that I did read that mattered is that it has the KSM 66. Something like, I guess they sell ashwagandha that doesn't have the KSM 66, and it doesn't work. It needs the KSM 66 to do this thing with the hair that may or may not be hokum. Anyway, so that's the only thing that I did consistently. Everything else I switched up all the time. I did use Miel hair oil that's from the drugstore as well on my scalp, and it did make my scalp really nice. I don't know if it made my hair grow back, but it like really made my scalp nice. So those are the things that I used.